Witnessed it all. He's also a familiar face to Fox viewers, criminal defense attorney Brian Claypool. Brian, you were there for the concert, up close. You had VIP seats. How did you know something was wrong?
Hey, John. Well, I was sitting in the front row. I heard some pops. I thought it was fireworks. I looked up. I didn't see anything in the sky, so I got worried. And what was eerie is Jason Aldean kind of hesitated during the song, and that really worried me a lot. And then shortly after that, there were about 10 more pops, and I was looking right at his face because I was looking for him as a guide. And he cupped his guitar under his arm, and he sprinted off the stage. And I knew something bad was going down. I immediately jumped up. I tried to run for the stairs to get away from the stage area. And then the onslaught of shots just started. Like I can't even tell you. It felt like at least 30 seconds nonstop. Pop, 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 pop. You heard it. I was laying flat on the stairs, and I was trying to pull some people next to me down because a lot of folks seemed like they were frozen in time and they weren't reacting. But I got to tell you, I mean, when I was laying on the ground, I could feel the air, like I could feel the power of the bullets going by, and I was just waiting to get hit. I was just saying to myself, what's it going to feel like to get hit by a bullet? So I was just praying, but I thought I was going to die right there laying on the stairs.
Where were they coming from? Behind you or in front of you?
Yeah, it was behind me, John. I was right in the corner. I was very close to the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and where the Mandalay Bay was. So where we were seated was actually as close as you can get to the Mandalay Bay, in that corner facing the Mandalay Bay. It felt, the bullets felt so heavy, like they were right on top of us. And that was the scariest part. The other part was just the volume of the bullets. I didn't know how anybody was going to survive. And then there was a short gap in time, John, and I'm like, I went from I'm going to die mode to I got to put myself in the best position to live. And then I sprinted, and then this young man was our hero. He's like, you need to go in this room for a little bit because you're now in open fire, like you're even more exposed. And then I got in this room, and it was I thought I was okay in there, but you know, I saw some young girls in there that were crying and on their hands and knees, and I just, at that moment, then I went back to, gee, is it fair for me? I mean, I was going through a lot. I was like, should I? Why should they die? Because they're a lot younger than me. You know what I mean? Like, I've lived a decent life. I'm middle-aged. These are young girls, so I literally was like, I think subconsciously I was like standing in front of them, like trying to protect them, you know? And I just tried to calm them. They were crying. I'm like, look, let's just get through this next round. Let's get through this next round of shooting, and then we've got to get out, because then I'm thinking we're going to die like the Orlando shooting, you know, the people in the bathroom. So I didn't want to die like that. And then after that second round, I peeked out the door, and I felt most vulnerable at that moment, because then I'm facing the Mandalay Bay. I'm open and vulnerable. But I got to tell you, man, there was a Las Vegas police officer. That guy's a hero. He looked at me and he said, go now, north, run, north now. And then I rallied everybody out of that room and ran north. But John, as we're running away, this police officer is jumping the fence to go fight, to face the shooter. And I can't tell you how heroic the law enforcement was.
Yeah, that's one thing that we all need to emphasize from such a horrific night, is that there were so many Americans and people from other nations we're finding out who did such heroic things. Now, you described it as a room. Was it actually something with walls, or was it more like a tent?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a miracle, John. It was like a little, it looked like a little production room. It was underneath these bleachers, and there was like some production equipment there. So there was this big device like on wheels. I kind of tried to push it a little bit in front of the girls, and we just hunkered down there for the second round of shots. And then it was also scary is when we finally ran north. Then, John, we were, you know, and I've seen where people shot. They were down. You have to understand, like we didn't know, nobody knew where the shooter was.
Right.
We didn't know whether it was one shooter, two shooters, three shooters. I thought the shooters were going to jump into the venue. So it was kind of like pick your poison, as I've described it. It's like, do I go left? Do I go right? Do I lay down? Do I stand up? Where is the shooter going to come into the room? Then we tried to exit, and there were like hundreds of people, and there was only like a 3 to 4 foot area to get out. So everybody's screaming hysterically, crying, and because they couldn't get out then. So I tried to be calm. That's the moment I tried. Look, we got to go one at a time. But I got to tell you, imagine being on gridlock on a freeway and waiting for somebody to shoot you from behind. I mean, that was another just horrible moment, waiting to try to get out. But the worst thing I'm coping with is the inability to really reach out to others. That's what I'm seeking therapy over, because you're conflicted in your mind. I'm running for my life, yet I'm seeing people shot. Okay, so now we've got to reconcile that. You see what I'm saying? Like, sure. I couldn't help people that were down, so now I'm feeling bad about that.
And I know you did see people who were hit. You know, the question on everybody's minds, Brian, is what caused this madman to do that? At least that's what we're asking in the media. I just wonder, for you as a concert goer, does that even matter to you?
Great question, John. That doesn't matter to me as much as I am determined now. My purpose in life has been galvanized. I've received so many notes from people across this country who were supportive of what I went through. But you know what they were asking me to do, John? They said, you know what? Stop feeling guilty about not helping others and now find your purpose to, for example, eliminate bump stocks. And I want to go one step further. And I've already put some things in motion to try to meet with U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein on Tuesday in Los Angeles. And John, I'm doing this through the help of the mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti. He and his wife, Amy, reached out to me. They're friends of mine. They reached out to me. I've never asked him for a favor. And I said, Eric, I need a favor. You need to put me in front of a legislator who's gonna get an assault rifle ban and get rid of this bump stock. So that is my mission. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Washington, D.C. I'm going to get a handful of survivors, and we have got to change this. John, there's no good reason why. Who knows why this guy did it?
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is he's able to easily access these weapons and bump stocks. That has to end in our country.
A lot of people agree with you, and even the NRA on the bump stock question. Thanks very much. I'm Brian Claypool. We've spoken to you many times before. We're glad to hear your story today, and glad you're here with us to share it. Thank you.
Poor Brian.
Thank you, John.